So why do we pick on the press when it seems like that's an ancillary issue? It's because it's not an ancillary issue. It doesn't really matter when Trump says something nasty about the Democrats or the Democrats say something nasty about Trump. If we're on the Republican side, we say, oh, those Democrats are so nasty. If you're on the Democrat side, you say, oh, those Republicans, the things they say. That's politics. That's the way politics is supposed to work. The referees are supposed to stay neutral. It's one thing to say, oh, the Patriots, they had a deflated ball, so it was easier to grip the ball and easier to throw it. That's bad, but it's not as bad as the refs saying, well, we like the Patriots, so we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to pay any attention. We're not going to do it. It's just not. And that's the problem with the press. Our refs are bad. Our refs are corrupt. And Trump says this, he says, I'm not running against Joe Biden. How could he be running against Joe Biden? Joe Biden won't even come out of his basement. Here's Trump saying who his real opponent is. Cut 8.
According to most, the real people, not the fake news and this press that we're running against, because my biggest opponent isn't Biden. It's not the Democrats. It's the corrupt media. We have a corrupt media in this country, the likes of which nobody's ever seen before.
It's really true. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. And the press has always been corrupt. It's always been bad. But now it's stupid, first of all, because so many of them have been fired and so many of the old business models have collapsed. And this happened. I was there when this happened. I was in the press when this happened, when they started to come in and say, no, we've got to be relatable. That was the word, relatable. You got to be relatable. You got to talk about the things that people are talking about, not about the things that you think are important. And, I would have these fights with people. I say, no, you got to tell them about what their budget is. You got to tell them what happened here and what happened there so they know how to vote. It's not about entertaining them. You can get entertainment elsewhere, but that model had collapsed. And it collapsed as, of course, cable news came in and all these other competitors to the networks came in. But Trump points out that he doesn't have to worry about Biden. Let's cut 7.
Somebody like Biden, he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't come out because he can't. He doesn't take any questions from reporters. I keep saying to my people, here I am getting bombs thrown at me every day by people that are totally, frankly dishonest reporters. But I'm getting, they're espousing the view of the radical left. But here I am, bombs every day, and do a good job in handling it. That's why my polls have gone up 10 or 12 points.
His polls have gone up a couple of points anyway. It is narrowing. But, now the Democrat convention is going to start. So just a week of rapture in the press. I mean, it's gotten comical. It has gotten ridiculous. I love the fact that I think the theme of the Democrat convention is uniting America. I just love this. It's like uniting America and hating one another. We want the gays to hate the straights. We want the blacks to hate the whites. We want the women to hate the men. And then we'll all be united in hating everybody. It'll be great. It's a uniting America. And then we'll burn down your cities. And by the way, nobody can leave his house and has to wear a mask if he does. It's going to be great. I like the fact that Trump is solving the problems in the Middle East. It really is his policies that are doing this. And okay, you can say it's Mike Pompeo and it's Jared Kushner, but it's under Trump's administration. His policies are doing this. He's solving the problems in the Middle East. And they're going, and wear a mask, because if you go out without a mask, everybody can see your face and then they get sick. It's terrible. These are two parties. I just want to show you something. I came across this, I guess, on Grabian. But to me, it is the press in a nutshell. Remember crazy Mika Brzezinski on the Morning Joe show, right? She had the affair with Joe and then they got married and then it's like a drama. It's like a drama on the show. She went off on Trump, and you got to listen to this carefully because it really is an amazing thing. Here's her indictment of Donald Trump.
There's clear disdain that I have for this president, but look at the facts. Look at how he's worn us down, from his paid-off porn star to Russia lies to racism in Charlottesville, racism across the board, children in cages. I mean, lie after lie after lie, conspiracy theories. Our country right now is really at a breaking point. If we don't find a way to hold this president accountable with his attempts to undermine the post office and also his apparent negligence, perhaps purposeful, on saving the American people's lives in this pandemic.
So I got to take this apart. We got to unpack this for a minute. The lie after lie after lie. And the conspiracy theories, like conspiracy theories, like the president purposely wants people to die of the Chinese flu. She's actually saying it's like all these conspiracy theories. And here the president is sitting up in Mount Trump, and the lightning flashing and the dark clouds are gathering over the little grotto that he lives in Mount Trump. And he's planning the deaths of the American people by the Chinese flu. Let's just go through her list, all right? Paid off porn star. Absolutely. That was really bad for the country. I know that in my life, the fact that Trump paid off a porn star to keep her quiet, that really made a big difference in my life. I mean, I was doing great before that. My business was running well. I was happy. My marriage was good. And then when I found out that Trump had paid off a porn star, because I didn't know when I voted for Donald Trump that he slept with everything in sight. I didn't know that. That was a big revelation, that the guy who wrote in his book that he was sleeping with I voted for him for his moral stance on adultery. Okay, but that at least is real. That's real. Then she says Russian lies. What were the Russian lies? For 3.5 years, Morning Joe and every other outlet that is connected in any way to the Democrats, which is all of them except maybe the Wall Street Journal, maybe Fox News, every single outlet ran with this Russian story. They led with it every day. And now that it's coming apart, and now that Durham is guiding some of the people, one of the people who's pled guilty, we'll talk about that, suddenly it's gone. It's off the news. So what Russian lies? Whose Russian lies? What is she talking about? She talks about racism in Charlottesville. What does that mean? It means this absolute hoax, a complete, total, thoroughgoing hoax that Donald Trump said there are good people on both sides, meaning, and by saying that he meant the white supremacists and the Antifa people. First of all, those two sides are the same side as far as I'm concerned. They're both dirtbags, violent dirtbags. I want nothing to do with them. And he said, I'm not talking about the white supremacists. They should be condemned completely. He said it in the same speech. So whose racism is it? Whose lies are it? Whose lies are they? They're hers. They're Mika's. As she's talking, as she's condemning him, she's condemning herself. It is the press in a nutshell. Then she talks about racism across the board. What racism? Trump created more jobs for black people than any president ever has. If we get through this thing, if he can convince the states to start opening up again, which they will, no matter who wins the election, they'll finally cave in. A lot of this stuff is manufactured, but still, what racism? I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Andrew Klavan Show. If you did, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you stay up to date on all our future content.